Welcome to section 4, and this is one I'm particularly passionate about because in my 15 years of procurement transformation work, contracts are where I've seen the most value destroyed and where AI is now making one of the biggest differences. Let me paint a picture you might recognize. A supplier sends over a 60-page master services agreement. Legal is backed up, the business is pushing to get the contract signed quickly. So the procurement team does a quick read through, flags a couple of obvious things, and moves on. 3 years later, there's a dispute, and buried on page 47 is a liability clause that completely changes who's responsible. A clause that nobody caught, not because the team wasn't diligent, but because reviewing 60 pages of dense legal text under time pressure is genuinely hard. AI doesn't get tired. AI doesn't miss page 47. Let me show you how to use it. Before we go any further, I need to share the most important rule in AI contract review. And I want you to hear this clearly before we look at any demos. Never paste a full real supplier contract into a public AI tool. I cannot stress this enough. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, these are cloud based tools. Pasting confidential supplier agreements, pricing terms, or commercially sensitive clauses into a public AI interface is a data privacy risk that could violate your company's information security policy, your NDA with the supplier, and in some jurisdictions, data protection regulations. We'll cover this in more detail in the governance section, but I want to say it here clearly before we go any further. The good news, there are three completely safe ways to use AI for contract review, and all three are powerful. Let me walk you through them. The three safe approaches to AI contract review. Approach 1: use anonymized or redacted extracts. Remove supplier names, pricing figures, and identifying information before pasting anything into a public AI tool. The analysis is just as useful without the data risk. Approach 2: use an enterprise AI tool. Microsoft Copilot within a licensed Microsoft 365 environment, for example, keeps data within your organization's secure tenant. Check with your IT team which enterprise tools are approved. Approach 3: use AI to build your review framework. Let AI generate the checklist and risk categories, then apply that framework yourself to the actual document. You get the analytical structure from AI without ever exposing confidential content. All three approaches are powerful, all three are safe. In our demo today, I'll show you approach 3 because it's the most universally accessible. Here's the prompt for building a contract review framework using AI. Persona: you are a commercial contract specialist with expertise in procurement agreements. Action: generate a comprehensive contract review checklist for a facilities management services agreement. Context: the checklist should cover liability and indemnification, termination rights and notice periods, SLA definitions and performance remedies, price escalation mechanisms, IP ownership, data protection obligations, and force majeure provisions. Template: for each category, list the key questions a procurement professional should ask and the red flags to watch for. Format as a structured checklist I can use during contract review. What AI produces is a professional, structured review framework, built in seconds, that a junior buyer can now use to conduct a thorough first pass review of any services contract. This is how AI multiplies your team's capability.
Not by replacing the lawyer, but by making every member of your procurement team a more informed, more thorough contract reviewer.
Now, let me show you what happens when you paste in a redacted clause directly. Here's the prompt: you are a commercial contracts lawyer specializing in procurement agreements. Review the following contract clause and 1. Explain what it means in plain English. 2. Identify any risks for the buyer. 3. Flag anything that is non standard or unusual. 4. Suggest alternative wording that would better protect the buyer's position. Clause: the supplier's total liability under this agreement shall not exceed the fees paid in the preceding 30 days. This limitation shall apply regardless of the form of action, whether in contract, tort, or otherwise, and regardless of whether such damages were foreseeable. Look at what AI produces: a plain English explanation, a clear identification of the risk, in this case, a 30-day liability cap, which is extremely restrictive for the buyer, a flag that this is non standard, and suggested alternative wording. That is genuinely powerful, and it took 20 seconds. The contract review checklist is in your workbook, ready to adapt for your most common contract types. Next, we're going to look at supplier risk. How to use AI to build a risk profile on any supplier quickly and systematically. Let's go.